What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the T and Z Show. One of my favorite days of the week is to get to hang out with this clown. Episode 7, Zach, throw it up.
Dude, I had surgery on my thumbs when I was a kid, so I can't even move my fingers. Oh, I actually got it right.
Wow, dude. That's
Dude,
awesome.
I had to have surgery when I was a kid because my thumbs.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't make fun
You
of you.
could literally do that.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
But now, like, when people try to get me to hold 3, it took me forever to be able to do this. Like, I can't even move. I don't have the full...
As long as you can count to 3.
Yeah.
Can you count to 3?
1, 2, 3.
Attaboy. Good job. All right, let's start our podcast off where we always start it off with, and that's Caitlin Clark. She's officially a professional athlete, and she still hasn't followed me on the gram. I don't get it. But tell me, she played I think it was last night actually, in her first official preseason game.
She's done 2 preseason games. The season hasn't started yet. So
13,000 people came to her game. That's a lot for a WNBA game. I think they've
breaking records
for a preseason game.
Well, everywhere they're going, they're moving it to bigger arenas.
Yeah.
They're selling out.
Yep. She got to hit her
What
logo 3.
she did in college is still happening now.
Yep. She hit her logo 3. Did you see that? Took her to the third quarter, but she got it.
Dude, I haven't got to watch any sports lately.
Why? Because you're a dad and you have a job?
Yeah, that.
That's lame, dude. Anyway, yeah, she hit her logo 3.
I'm too busy racing my kids and hurting myself.
Raising your kids or racing your kids? Oh, that's right. Let's talk about that. Okay, so if you haven't, for all our 87 people who watch this, which is very exciting, our views are just skyrocketing right now. There's a video out there on his wife's page, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Shani Lewison, okay? Go look her up because there's a video of this guy face planting while he was running, and now he has internal bleeding. You want to tell us about that?
So, there was multiple races that happened. First, I raced my 9-year-old because I knew I could win still.
Yeah.
I knew I had like 1 or 2 more years of being able to win.
That's right, dude.
And what didn't get released is a video of me winning and going, not even close, and taunting my 9-year-old.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You got to keep him in check.
But then I was like, to be fair, all right, let's see how bad my 12-year-old would win. Because he's incredibly fast.
Well, and he's very athletic.
Yeah, he's a stud. And so is our 9-year-old, but he's 9.
For sure,
so I can still put. Yeah,
it's different.
So instead of it being me and him racing, our 9-year-old Elisha and my 3-year-old Jevers, they join in too. So we're just all crowded.
Yep.
And we say go, and I'm trying to not run over my 3-year-old.
Yeah, you got to be nice.
And there's a dip because on a sidewalk.
Yeah, the sidewalk where the driveway starts, right? Us people who can see normally.
And I tried to avoid, and I'm cruising in my mind.
Yeah.
And I just, next thing I know, I go, and if you watch the video, like
I watched it multiple times.
I was like, I tucked and rolled.
You did.
You
did, but you went down hard.
I did. Well, you can even hear, but when you watched it, in the moment, I was like, okay, this is gonna be my ankle or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
As you're going down.
Yeah, and then I just thought I scraped my body. Well, later that night they get me laughing and it hurts.
Oh yeah.
And like I can barely move, so like I'm pretty sure at this point it's just a bruised rib because I feel better now. But like literally, I couldn't move. I couldn't cough. Like if I coughed, it hurt. Like my wife was yelling at me to like sit up when I sleep, and I can't do that. So, dude,
here's what I'm gonna do for us. I'm gonna make a clip of this for later, and I'm gonna pull that video off of your wife's page since most people may not go watch it. I'm gonna put it on there side by side so we can watch this guy tumble. Okay, I got to be honest with you. I have this weird, sick humor where I will literally YouTube people falling, and it makes me laugh. So when you fell, at first I was like, "Oh man, I hope he's okay," and then I just kept watching it, and I just giggled. So thank you, Shani, for helping me giggle my night away.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what was better, the raw video of it happening and seeing everyone laugh, or when she did like the slow mo with the song.
I think that's what I saw. Was the slow mo with the song.
So on my page is the whole raw video.
I gotta go watch that.
And the only part of that was like, everyone's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, please tell me you at least got that on video.
You gotta make it worth it, right?
Yeah,
you gotta make it worth it.
But if the slow mo video you watched, all 3 of my boys smile on his face.
As your fault.
Elijah,
I did notice that. They were pumped.
Yeah.
But I don't think they realized you fell when you fell. Because they were just, I think they thought they were beating you.
Well, no, that you heard it. You heard it. You saw, yeah.
Okay.
But Jevers just, if you watch, he maneuvers around my hat that fell off my head.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't slowing down. He's like, I'm going to beat Dad.
He didn't care.
None of them stopped.
Good for him. Yeah, you got to finish the race.
Like,
Always
literally,
finish.
None of them stopped.
Always finish. Go back later. Come on. All right. Let's talk about a hot topic that we've talked over the phone about. In our producer meetings that we have for the show.
Yep.
About this man named Jamal Murray and how it's now okay, according to the NBA, to throw things onto the court at a referee and not get in trouble for it. Share your thoughts on that.
And
Adam Silver, good job.
Well, every school district I've ever been involved in, every coaching thing I've ever been involved in, at some point in the year, the AD has to send out a letter. And the letter says, parents, you need to chill out and behave because we can't get anyone to ref our games.
Yeah, shout out to CV parents if you're out there.
What's that?
Central Valley, we played them up there. I'm calling them out.
This is getting personal.
Yeah, it is getting personal. I'm still pissed off about that. Keep going.
Here's the deal. He threw a heat pack, and I'll give credit. Like the media outlets did not excuse it, but they said he threw it in the direction. Like he straight up chucked it at the ref because he was throwing a tantrum.
He did.
And I'm sorry, and I know when people talk about sports in the work world, when you say professional, they're talking about how you carry yourselves, how you act. But in sports, it's like I'm going pro. All that means is I made it, right?
Yeah.
But they seem to understand that when you are a professional, there's expectations, and there's a way to act that comes with being professional. And we're letting a grown adult who gets paid millions of dollars,
I think he's making almost $30 million a year right now,
to play a game. We let him throw a tantrum, throw something at a referee because a call didn't go his way, and he's losing a game. And then when he goes and gets interviewed,
keep going.
he gets to say,
Yeah.
I take responsibility. Next question. Someone asks another question. Next question. Then he says, do you have any basketball questions? It happened on the court.
Exactly.
Like
it happened during the game.
It happened during the game. And as parents, athletes, your actions on the court are a part of who you are.
Yeah.
It is not just, you know how it is in the game. No.
Well, imagine throwing something at your boss at an office.
Dude.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a superior. An official, an umpire, a referee, whatever their title they are, depending on the sport, they are an authority figure on the field. You cannot do that. For those people who are covering from he didn't throw it at him, he just kind of threw it in his direction. Nobody throws something at somebody saying, I'm going to throw this about 12 inches short of their foot just to send a message. Anybody have kids out there? When their kid throws something at their sibling, I missed on purpose. They tried to hit their sibling. He tried to hit the referee. There's no question around that. And for him to not be suspended for a game, and again, I get past, what do you want to say? How do you say it? Your past kind of plays into your consequences. But Draymond Green did that. He's gone for multiple games. LeBron James does that. Everybody goes after him.
So you might disagree with me here.
Absolutely, I will.
The fact that he threw it, okay, that's wrong. I'm not saying. But the worst part to me isn't that he did it, isn't that he acted the way he did during the game. The worst part is how he handled it. He threw a tantrum on the court.
I think it's both. I think those are two separate conversations.
Yes, he acted like a child on the court, and he acted like a child.
Yeah, I think
in the interview.
I separate the two, right?
They're two different things.
Because here's the thing: I'm gonna make mistakes. I've made mistakes, right? But then you have a chance to, when you get asked about it or you get held accountable for it, right? For the public's eyes, he had another opportunity to show just humility and leadership, and he chose not to do that again.
Absolutely, and
so those are two different things.
Again, professional. Kids watch. Kids look up to him.
Totally.
Especially, another conversation, but the Denver Nuggets being like the top of like. That's why people don't watch the NBA.
People are watching. Hey,
I know.
This I don't want to get into this.
I'm a '90s kid.
I don't want to get into this. But did you see the TV deal they signed? $7 billion. $7 billion for the NBA. For all those people who are out there saying NBA is dying, blah blah blah, go really study their social media, their YouTube, TikTok. They have a bigger and more consistent following than any other sport in America right now, surpassing the NFL.
I know, that's crazy.
Anyways, separate topic for a different day. Yeah. But back to Jamal Murray stuff.
Here's the
super
deal.
Disappointing. That kind of ties into. I want to give a plug to this guy. This is episode 7 today, Zach, aka 7. But on episode 6, we already went in on parents and the youth world and athletes for this exact stuff before this even happened, about what are we doing out here now? So go unplug in episode 6. Keep going.
Okay. Here's the deal. Athletes, parents who have athletes. Sports is an awesome learning ground. I am going to show my 13-year-old this video. Mm-hmm. Well, he's almost 13. Anyways, I'm going to show him this video. And I'm going to look at him, and I'm going to tell him, if you ever do what he did on the court, or you respond like this ever,
you're donezo.
Your career is done.
You're donezo.
It is done.
So let me get personal, and let me throw CV under the bus really fast, okay? So I coach at Chihuahua baseball. We're in the playoffs right now. Shout out to all of our boys working hard. Go burn the ships. Come on, we got a big game against Kamaikan tomorrow. We're going to get you Braves, and then we're going to probably play Gonzaga Prep. But anyways, we played CV last weekend, okay?
Dude, this would have been a good episode to bring our friend Kevin on.
We've got to get him on here. We'll bring him on after the playoffs. We'll talk baseball. That's a good
When
point.
you guys are not mad at each other anymore.
I'm never mad at him. We compete, and then we collaborate. That's my heart, okay? Come on. You like that, by the way? Compete and then collaborate? I came up with that all by myself.
A real champion would never do that.
Wow. I'm waiting for someone to say that, by the way. So we're at CV, okay? We're playing. Now, I want a perspective here. I'm all about being competitive. Anybody knows me, I am ultra competitive. I go overboard at times.
Ask his daughter's softball team.
That's right. State champs, here we come. Anyways, this is the first inning. Like, bottom of the first for them. Their first at bat. The score, we did put up a 3 spot in the first inning. And there was some pressure on them in that moment.
So this is the bottom of the first.
But it's the bottom of the first, okay? Perspective. They hit a ball into right field. Our right fielder, it was windy. Ball gets away from him. Ball drops. He fields it cleanly. Makes an adjustment after a mishap and does what Jamal Murray didn't do and makes the next play. And he throws the guy out at second. Now remember, this play at second base is happening in the first inning. It's a 50-50 call, okay? I'm not here to say it was a bad call, it was the right call, or if he was out, he wasn't out. It was a 50-50 call. So it wasn't even like an outrageous call, right? You've seen plays in sports where it's like really, really bad. It's like, come on, man. This wasn't even that. Their parents erupt. I'm thinking like soccer status, dude. I literally was about to text my wife who was there, like, get the kids out of here. Because the things they were saying were ridiculous. To the point to where the umpire had to stop the game. Shout out to you CB parents. Stop our game in the first inning. I'm going to tag them on this too because I'm so mad about this. Stop the game in the first inning to go talk to your coach, your AD, and you guys, and they had to give a warning, and I think they tried to throw somebody out. I'm not sure if they actually did or not. In the first inning on a 50-50 call. That summarizes our whole entire conversation about how out of control youth sports are right now. And we wonder why our kids react the way that they do when our parents are acting that way.
Yeah.
Now that that's off my chest.
So I need to go back to Jamal Murray with that.
Yeah.
When I say sports is learning ground, Jamal Murray had an amazing opportunity to say, listen.
Exactly. And he blew it.
I messed up. I'm going to own my mistake. And I'm going to get better. And he didn't.
He didn't. That's where he messed up on. Yeah.
And we see that in our kids. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, I see that in moments in my life as an adult. And so the difference between Jamal Murray and me is everyone's watching him when he did it because people actually care about him.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not taking anything off of us because we probably have those moments where we don't own up when we should because the spotlight's not on.
Yes, yes.
But I think making a mistake, getting lost in the moment, getting caught in our feelings and our emotions.
Yep.
Which the Bible, is pretty honest that the heart misleads.
Yeah.
And so we can get caught up in our feelings and do something that's out of character.
Yep.
And so that's there. The real question to me of character is, what do you do after?
Yeah.
What do you do when you screw up?
Yep.
And so, we saw an aspect of who someone was in that moment.
Totally. Which to me is a perfect transition to what I brought today in our notes that you don't get to see, what I want to talk about. So last episode, again, I already talked about episodes today. We talked about this kind of culture of youth sports, parents, just how it's toxic right now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go.
Listen, I get a lot of people don't watch us. If they're ever
Talking about, dude.
Okay, I'm
Why
sorry.
do you gotta lead with that?
Listen.
Start over. Take 2.
Wow.
Just cut that part
Here's
out.
what I'd say. If there's ever an episode of ours to watch,
It's all of them.
I feel like, and maybe I sound arrogant, but I feel like that episode actually had something to offer, and I hope that we are, as dads and as coaches who love sports.
Yeah.
Listen, my son is pursuing serious soccer.
Yep.
Like my other kids they want to do sports, and I if God wants to open big doors through sports with them, or if it's just they're gonna play till they're out of high school, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I want to support that and be a part of that with them, and I'm waiting for one of my kids to be awesome at basketball so I can have one visit to Duke. But
one visit to Duke. You don't want to go to Duke.
But what I really hope is we get a conversation started.
Totally.
Whether it's the rec league or the kids pursuing serious sports. And here's what I want to say. You're going to make fun of me. I'm going back to Iowa and to Caitlin Clark.
Wow, weird.
Yeah. And her parents, how their family handled.
You got to give her props.
Her superstardom. One of my favorite things, and I even heard a sports talk show talking about this, is like when you told her to stop when she was complaining about the refs in a tournament game, like that was on display.
You know what I like about Caitlin Clark's parents, to be even more transparent? You don't know who they are. They're not in the media like some other parents when their kids are superstars.
They show them and you see the moments, but they didn't become stars.
They're not trying to go on ESPN. Yep. They're not trying to start a brand. They're not trying to build up their own social
just trying
media.
To raise and support their adult daughter.
Yes, they're not trying to start a reality show. And I am taking shots at certain parents of athletes that are out there where the parents want to almost take more of the spotlight away from their kid, but then try to say, oh, no, I'm just trying to help my kid out. They don't need your help. What they need is for you to encourage them, love them, and hold them accountable as a student / kid.
That they did that Dance Mom show and that kind of revealed evil. Where's football dads or
it's coming. It's
where is that?
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. But all right, I'm passionate about this subject for the same reason Zach is, and I do get fired up. So when I call people out, you guys can take it for what it is, but it's just the truth, right? We're not saying anything here that isn't true or hasn't happened, and so. But I do want to transition to what I kind of want to talk about today, because it goes right along with what we've been speaking about today in the last episode, is guides in our lives. So I recently listened to one of my mentors talk about how if you go back to every quote-unquote hero in life, right, from MLK to anybody out there, right, of that status that had incredible influence on our culture today, even athletes. Every hero has a guide. That's what he talks about. Every hero has a guide. And so today I want to talk about guides that we've had in our lives that have impacted our stories. And then also just kind of talk about the bigger picture of how everybody everybody is being guided by something or someone. The question is, what/who is guiding you? And I want to, before we get into the deeper subject, to bounce off some popcorn talk about some movies that represent this, right? So I'm going to go first. When I think of the guide and the hero, I think of Rocky and Mickey, right? Rocky had Mickey. Mickey passes away. Who became next? Apollo Creed, right? Fast forward to the Creed series. Creed's the hero, but he needed a guide, right? Who was that for him? Rocky. You got a movie you're thinking of when I say that on the spot?
This is probably really out of the box.
I like it.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Peter Quill.
Yep. Love those movies.
And Yondu.
Yeah, exactly. Love those movies. Well, staying in that sci-fi world, right? You have Star Wars. Who did Luke Skywalker have? Not Baby Yoda. I was gonna say Baby Yoda. He had Yoda, right? Literally, you go through every story that's been written or filmed. There's always a guide to the hero. You go to Lord of the Rings, right? Frodo had the guy with the white beard. I don't even know his name. What's his name?
The Mighty Ducks, Gordon Bombay has Hans.
Let's go. I'm surprised you haven't gotten some soccer term yet. What about Bend It Like Beckham? Is there a guy and the hero in that?
Here's the deal. We're going to go off trail for like 2 seconds.
Go.
I don't like baseball.
Yeah.
But my son and I were talking about this. There are so many good baseball movies.
Oh, so good.
For sport movies. And I don't know if it's just because the game's slow enough and you can, I think it has something to do with what happens in the game.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many good baseball movies and
I think it's more
soccer
relatable.
movie. Yeah.
I think.
But
baseball is more relatable to the average human.
But to baseball in the Sandlot, Smalls has Benny Rodriguez.
Benny, baby, let's go.
We just watched that the other day in the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, it's true. Look at every story. Every hero has a guy. Let's go church on them, right? The disciples had who? Jesus, right? And then post Jesus, the new disciples had Peter, had Paul, had all. The list goes on and on. Okay, let's talk about your life. But before we get in your life, let me ask this question: what role do guides play in our lives, and why do you think all heroes seem to have them?
I think it's as simple as we're not meant to do life alone.
There you go.
And God puts people in our lives to speak to. I think he speaks to us through leaders, through people who have more life experience and wisdom than us.
Yeah.
And now it's up to us whether we choose to listen.
Yeah, that's
because that's the thing. Yeah. All a guide can do is impart wisdom and hopefully hold you accountable.
Yep.
But ultimately, you still have to make the decision.
You have to be coachable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because look at it this way. Darth Vader.
There you go.
Had the same mentor as Luke Skywalker.
Yes. And he had the other dude. What was his name? You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna get made fun of if we don't know Star Wars.
Obi-Wan.
There it is. Obi-Wan was Darth Vader's original guide.
So they had the same guide, same leadership. And so I think, and when we say guide, because here's what I will say. Something I was told in college that has always stuck with me, but it's harder to practice.
Yeah.
And in full honesty, finding this in my life, as far as like this person is quote unquote mentor.
Yep.
But one of my professors said everyone should have a ceiling and a floor.
Okay.
So you have someone pulling you up, and then you also have someone that you're pulling up with you.
Exactly.
So we should all be guided by someone guiding us, and we should also be raising up.
Yep.
And the person we're raising up, the hope is they do even more than us.
Totally. That's our hope for our kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I mean, I don't know that I've ever had like, and maybe this is bad as a leader, but like someone that like, hey, this is my mentor. We meet on these. I've not had that structured mentorship.
Yeah.
But like, I know in my life right now, I've got a lead pastor who mentor.
Give him a shout out. What's his name?
Pastor Lanny.
Come on, we'll tag him.
Just and whether it's through our conversations or just watching him.
Yeah. What impact is he having on you right now? Or has had on you in your time here at Grace Point Church?
Man, I think I have he has taught me, I think the biggest thing is, and it's really simple, but is to keep the main thing. Like, the vision for our church is one soul at a time, and we're trying to do all these other things because you have to have things and structures to make your organization work.
Yep.
But one of the coolest things is the questions that it's always brought back to is, are we reaching people for Jesus? And so he is really in any sort of leadership, whether it's the church world or the marketplace.
Yeah.
It is easy to get caught up in the stress of all the other stuff.
Yep.
And there's other things, and that's all a part of it.
Yep.
But I think the one thing I've learned is your life is what you're doing pointing people to Jesus. And that's not just when we're here at the church. That's with our family, with our kids, and just so I think the biggest thing is seeing a genuine heart to reach people for Jesus.
Yeah.
And that extend to all aspects of his life.
Yep.
And to see in leadership how he handles certain situations and just the demeanor and stuff. And I found myself like I'm using similar phrases to how he is. And so it's like even things that I didn't understand I was picking up on, I'm picking up on.
Yeah, exactly. He's sharpening you without even realizing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think just that, like having that in my life right now. But I also had a youth pastor brought me in because I was into music. Their youth group was into music, took me to a concert I wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I think this kid's going to be a leader.
Yeah.
And really dealt with me in an immature state, trying to impress people, trying to whatever. And there was a time where he was gone. And in that moment, the other leaders were running, and I was a stupid teenager. And I jokingly like...
Is there such thing as a smart teenager?
We went from telling everyone that our 12-year-old is incredibly mature to like having to Google like how bad is drinking bubble solution for you.
There you go. Keep going though. Sorry. Keep going.
But I did something really dumb. Like I jokingly like did this to a female adult leader, and I didn't think anything of it because I was a stupid kid.
Yeah.
And
how old were you?
15, 16.
Okay. Yeah.
But,
I'm not surprised.
And it wasn't even that just my attitude. So next week, he doesn't pull me off the worship team, pull me off of the student leadership stuff.
Yeah.
He takes me out to eat and says like, listen, if I have you involved in this, it means you're a leader.
Yeah.
And how you acted in this moment, that's not how leaders handle and how leaders go about things.
Yep.
And so, and in the moment, that kind of like, it didn't feel awesome, but how he handled it, I mean, you know, the tacos lessened the sting. But like, just, I remember in the moment, like what's crazy is all these years later, I don't remember all the messages he preached on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, no, totally.
But I remember how he brought me in.
Yeah.
How he encouraged me.
Yeah.
But also how he expected more of me.
Yes.
And we've maybe talked a few times since then.
Yeah.
Since I was one of their students.
Yeah.
But knowing I'm not where I'm at without that, and even now it kind of shapes how I interact with students now.
Totally.
And seeing that.
That's good, man. Are you doing good on time? Are we good on time? Because I know you might have something coming up.
We're good on time.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, I want to bring up another part of the whole guide conversation and share about a mentor of mine as well, a guide of mine. But it's a guide in a unique way. I truly believe that guides, you can have multiple guides for different aspects of your life, right?
Absolutely.
So, for example, you just brought up your pastor. He's helped you in just leadership, right? Mm-hmm. Pastoral and just leadership 101 too, right? I think we can have guides that directly influence us, like because we're rubbing shoulders with them each and every day.
Yeah.
But I think what's unique about in 2024 is we can even have guides or mentors, however you want to say it, that we may never ever truly have a one-on-one conversation with, but there's resources out there that so for example, for me, there's a guy named Brian Johnson. I follow him very closely, love his heart, love his leadership style. Mm-hmm. He runs an organization called Heroic. You can go look it up. And he's put out these videos and he calls them philosopher notes. They're basically books that he condenses into 6 pages, like Cliff Notes in a sense. He puts out all this incredible podcast. I don't know where he's at with his faith with Jesus, but he's just an incredible man with incredible character and incredible leadership lessons, and he's changing the world one person at a time. It's crazy to follow him. Anyways, I say all that to say this. I've never met him, but I follow him closely now for like 5 years, maybe longer than that now. It's probably been actually since like 6 years now. And I consider him a guide for me when it comes to leadership, but I've never, ever talked to him. And I just want to challenge anyone who sees this, that if there's an area in your life that you want to see change, whether it be spiritually, whether it be leadership, business, financial, physical, mental, like any aspect of your life, like go find somebody either that is doing really well in that area, right? That's local, or you can even reach out to different platforms that are out there that can help you as well. Because I truly believe, like you said at the very, very beginning of this conversation, that we were designed to not do life alone, right? We were all designed to have guides. It's the model that you laid out for us, right? I'm gonna be getting pulled up, but I'm also gonna be pulling somebody with me, right? So it's the ceiling, floor.
So I wanna take us on a different rabbit trail.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the importance of a guide and the need of a guide.
Yeah.
And how that's important. And I'm not discrediting any of that at all. So don't hear me wrong.
No.
But I want to speak to another side of it.
Yep.
If that person changes, if something happens, they're not the person they used to be, or whatever.
Yes.
That doesn't negate
Yeah.
the work that God did through them
Yep.
in your life.
Exactly.
And I went through that. So I was the kind of the early 2000s when like the punk rock, Warped Tour, skinny jeans, long hair era. And in that era, Christian heavy music, Christian hardcore, Christian
Skillet.
metal,
Did you ever get into Skillet?
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about better stuff.
I got it.
That and to see, I got into that world, and that really pulled me into Jesus. And
what about POW? What were they called? POD?
Not even that.
Okay. Swiftfoot?
No.
Switchfoot? What are they called? Okay, keep going. Sorry.
But the bands that were doing well, and locally, it was like everyone was like screaming and talking about Jesus in this era.
Yeah.
And it was trendy and it was cool.
Yep.
And these people brought me in, and it was following Jesus, but we didn't need the church. And we're following Jesus despite the church, and that was a big spiritual guide for me.
Yep.
And then as I've grown in my faith and had other leaders and mentors and things, and now most of these bands and most of the people locally, the scenes that I grew up in, have in that world deconstructing was really huge.
Yep.
And so now all these years later, I'm singing these songs that really shaped me spiritually. Seeing these bands, they're singing them because they're their big hits.
Yeah.
But they're publicly talking about how they don't mean anything to them anymore.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so it's like, and that really messed with me for a long time.
For sure.
But like, flawed humanity does not change the work that God used through
it's good.
flawed humanity.
Yeah.
And so again, a guide, a leader is so important, but I do need to say this. They are a guide, they are not your God.
Exactly. Come on.
An idol is anything we put before, and I do think sometimes in the church world, people follow pastors and leaders over following Jesus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you probably didn't plan our conversation to go there.
That's good. I'm glad you said
And listen, please don't hear me wrong. You need mentorship. You need guide. You need a ceiling, and I believe you should have a floor that you're raising up with you.
Absolutely. I don't think you said anything confusing at all. I think that was clear as day, right? I think there are gonna. It's historical. People are gonna that you look up to are going to fall, and that does not change the fact of what happened in that season for you, what that did for you, and we have to be careful, like you said, whether it's in the church and we're raising up the pastor too much, or it's just in life in general. You can't have idols. right? So when we're talking about guides, we're not talking about someone that is the end-all be-all. Now, I truly believe, and Zach would agree with me, that there is an end-all be-all guide, and that's Jesus. And that he truly is the ultimate guide, right? But we all need guides in between that.
Yeah.
But then we have our relationship with Jesus.
Because I would say the Holy Spirit
Yes.
is the ultimate mentor.
Totally.
The ultimate mediator.
Yeah,
but,
totally. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
Timothy had Paul.
Yeah, exactly. You can go through a whole list of
The
people
whole,
in the
yep,
news.
all of it.
Yep. So hey, let's wrap it up today. We don't want to go too long. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. So I do want to end with this. So I want to end with a guide and a mentor, a guide and a hero story, really fast, that I learned about literally just this morning. This is what inspired me this morning, and it was we all know who Martin Luther King Jr. is. Changed the world, right? Loved Jesus, loved people, was courageous as could be. But if you go, I got to look at my notes because I don't want to mess up names. If you go back in his story when he was in school, he had a guide that got him set on this path to changing the world for everybody. And his name was Benjamin Elijah Mays. I encourage anybody and everybody out there that sees this, go Google that name. Benjamin Elijah Mays. That's who was the guide for Martin Luther King when he was in school and inspired him to do something that nobody else thought could be done, and inspired those showed them those needs and introduced them to Jesus and the civil rights movement, all these things. And I want to leave this with a quote today. This is from Benjamin Elijah Mays. It's a powerful quote, and this is what he said: "Whatever you do, strive to do it so well that no man living and no man dead and no man yet to be born could do it any better." And so if I could continue to encourage Zach and myself, that we would continue to have guides in our lives, and also take time and reflect on what is guiding us. Because we live in a life right now where there's a lot of voices. And I think we need to be aware of what's guiding us, who's guiding us.
What's funny is, I know we're trying to wrap up, but
go.
Our pastor and I had a conversation, and we were talking like, we all worship something.
Totally.
And so I think the same thing, we're all guided by something.
Absolutely. Yep, 100%. The question is, what is that? Who is that? Yeah. And I also want to just put a plug in there for anyone that sees this to reflect on, where does Jesus fit in your story in regards to being the ultimate guide of your life? So that's the end of episode 7. We appreciate you guys letting us vent, and I appreciate you, man. And you are also a guide in my life. I mean that. I'm being serious right now. I appreciate just what you do for this community and the friend that you are. And I love doing this with you, even though
I think same back and forth. I think this is probably that perfect iron sharpens iron. Like that's what a friendship centered on Jesus, I think, does.
This will be the last time I'm ever nice to you. Okay, so maybe better remember this moment. All right, that's it. Episode 7 is over. Get out.